The Supreme Court on Monday ruled that children born out of wedlock are also entitled to inherit their father's wealth, marking a significant development in the interpretation of the law of succession in Kenya. This is after the Apex Court dismissed an appeal by Fatuma Athman Aboud Faraj, who had sought to exclude the children of her late husband, Salim Juma Hakim Kitendo, from his estate on grounds that they were born out of wedlock. Two advocates of the High Court of Kenya, one born out of wedlock, share their views on this landmark ruling and what it means for the succession issues in Kenya, especially for those born out of a formal marriage.
I'm Brenda Nyambura Kirago. I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I am a daughter. I am a wife. I'm a mother and a sister. I would say I grew up very well. I had a very good upbringing, and I've not had any issue in my life up until the year 2020, when my father passed away. My father being Lawrence Nginyo Kariuki. When he passed away is when life changed for me. Not only was I his advocate, but also an advocate of very many. But of course, my name has come up because of a succession matter that has touched my life. The relationship with my father and myself was very close. We were close. Not only was he my father, he was also my client as well. And we did a lot together, and also in terms of business, we also worked together. I would say that up until his death, we were in communication because he was based on the 9th floor and I was based in the same building. Each morning on Mondays and Fridays would have meetings, and would not only talk about the matters that we may have in court, also other business dealings that he had. So what happened, just like everyone else, I got to learn that my father has passed away on TV. It was announced on all local channels. I was not notified that he's passed away. I would go visit him up until 2 weeks before he passed away, when he was taken to HDU, and there were strict instructions that no one should see him without permission of a specific child, and that blocked myself and others from seeing him. The next thing I heard was he's passed away on TV. I feel that's a very sad statement to talk about a child that way, especially when he was alive. I was never labeled a black sheep. I am aware that they know that I was there. I am the only child in that building. So how would you be a black sheep all of a sudden? Is it because I'm fighting for my rights? Them being children and I being a child. Actually, they are older than me. I'm the youngest. I would speak for myself. I would say I'm one of the youngest children. So it's sad. There's a narrative that has been pushed about me. I'm not a black child. I have decided that I should take that step, like children who are not born within the marriage, to speak up. Yeah, because there are so many other children like me, and I probably have that podium to say, hey, we are here and we should be acknowledged. Lucky enough, I'm an advocate. I do know how the law is. I do know how the law should be, and it should be followed. And that's the reason I have decided to follow up with the courts, because being an advocate, I'm also an officer of the court, and I believe being an officer of the court, it's my opportunity and my time to say, look, these are laws that should be followed. What happens to this child who doesn't have the opportunity to get legal counsel, to understand what the law says? Where will they be? Who will speak for them? I've taken this opportunity to speak up. That aspect is societal perspective. That's what the society has deemed to say is okay, but it's not okay, because not only do the laws establish that it's not okay, but these are children. And we need to think about mental health, especially with the people with these children who don't have the ability to speak up. Probably these children will say they have a legitimate expectation. Who says this child who was not born within the marriage has no legitimate expectation? When the father was there, they had a legitimate expectation. No one put up their hand or said strongly that no, this child is unwanted. And I strongly believe if God saw it that this child should survive and still live, because there are very many couples who don't have, probably are not blessed with a child, but then now there's this child who's born out of marriage. This child should also be considered as a gift. This child is a gift from God. And who is society to say that this child is not wanted, is a black sheep, is illegitimate? No, but society has come up and said that's what it is. But we have now the chance to change what the society perspective is. What I can say is, number one, legislature, parliament. If you look at the law of succession, they have pushed for this child who is not born within the marriage. And that's why there's that section of the law that is enshrined for those children. That's one. That's part of the system. The other part of the system is the judiciary. The judiciary have also passed so many cases, so many case laws of these children who are born out of marriage. So I think it would go on individuals. It would not necessarily be the system. Okay. There are those who follow the law and know this is what the law is, and this is what is entitled to these children. So I would not specifically say it's the system, but I probably would say it's individuals who've decided they should not follow. I am pushing for the law for the children who are born not within the marriage, because these children need to be heard. And if it means I take this podium and push for their children to be heard, if I'll be that one voice that will push for these children, then I've decided to take that mantle. And I'm ready for whoever who wants to fight against the position I've taken. Yeah, they can come.
The main focus we should have are the rights of children who are born outside the union of marriage. We are in 2025, Francis. How many divorces? Personally, I've handled about 14. There is no existing marriage, right? Yes. A gentleman will go and marry again. A lady will go and marry again. What are we going to call the children, the issues of such unions that have since been dissolved? And the challenge that I always give, and I really miss one of our senior counsels, Judith Ongori, because she used to share a lot of wisdom. She was a conciliator. And in situations like this, how do we then ensure that under the eyes of the law, the guarantee of equality that is in that constitution is placed even in succession matters. Because as I told you, when an individual dies, it matters not who was the mother of his children. The biggest concern is generational transfer of wealth so that that legacy can continue. Right? Because right now we are talking about his assets. The question I ask you, Francis, if this man was in 5 billion shillings in debt, would we be having this fight over that debt? In fact, people would be mteja. Isn't it? So with the same chest you're coming for assets, would you come with the same chest for the liabilities? So that's why we need to have an open mind and ask ourselves, is this a society we have? I mean, Africa traditionally was we were polygamous cultures.
Yes.
But here we are. We find ourselves in a situation where a man has many children and his estate is to be shared amongst his beneficiaries.